Greetings, everybody. Welcome to That Game Place Live. We've got a great show for you tonight. Great panel assembling. We got a couple of folks that are going to show up a little bit later. We're going to do shuffling panel today. Let's just talk about that. But we have incredible stories, breaking news, especially about Ubisoft. And we're going to actually start off with Ubisoft. But I can't do that till I introduce you to the amazing people that make everything possible here. The incredible team that is That Game Place. Let's bounce out and say hi to everybody. That includes Space Dave 2000. How you doing, Space Dave?
I'm great. All the way up here, I see something on fire. It looks like a dumpster, but I'm sure we're going to talk about that.
Speaking of dumpster fires, the man himself who warms himself by said dumpster fires, it's Loki. How you doing, Loki?
I'm doing great. Culture, the weather outside may be frightful, but we're definitely keeping warm with the Ubisoft dumpster fire that's happening right now. I'm excited.
Yeah, it is. We got so many stories coming out of Ubisoft. In fact, Marvin the Movie Monster has been talking about Ubisoft quite a bit lately. What do you think, Marvin?
Good Lord. I mean, what is there to say? I don't think this time in 3 years we have a Ubisoft anymore. I think we're going to see the end of one of, the big AAA gaming companies again. And, good riddance.
Yeah, and I think it's weird. I mean, either that or they'll take them private, and I think we'll probably get to that conversation piece as well. We're waiting on Spencer to show up, hopefully, before we start. But I just want to remind everybody that we do have a leaderboard here. We start fresh again today with the Platinum supporter being the person who's contributed the most for the month. We've got the Gold supporter, the Silver supporter, and the Bronze supporter all tied to this stream, and I'll keep a running total as we keep going forward. We have had a Super Chat, which I'll get to now, which means I'm going to have to update this quickly. But that comes to us from the incredible, the amazing TGV Monster for $2 worth of tokens. We appreciate that. Hi, everybody. Howdy, howdy. Indeed. Got 10 thumbs up on that. Remember, you can contribute to the success of this stream with all of your thumbs up, not just down below, which we want to see all of you do that, but also with hitting the thumbs up on a super chat. Really does help with engagement. Your conversation drives this conversation, so please feel free to chat amongst yourselves. We've got a list of stories. We have more stories than we got time for today, so we're going to try to keep the show to just 2 hours. Rumors are correct. We could possibly be considering moving the show to Tuesday. I may put a poll in the field to see if that's something that you would be willing to give us a shot on. And before we get to our first story, and thank you again, TGV Monster, we got to bring in the man of bounding potential. Unbounded potential. He's bounding about. It's Spencer.
It's me!
Spencer. It's Spencer!
Yeah,
Hey,
Caboodle Driver Mad.
Walking in.
we got a great number of stories. We got stories obviously from that park place. We got stories from Bounding into Comics. We got stories from Gamer, all over the place. I went and got stories from everywhere. But we're gonna jump on some of this just wackadoodle breaking news craziness that I blame everybody here for, calling out the very poor behavior of a bunch of folks at Ubisoft. That's right. And actually lost the page we were going to work from. So this is going to make the show much harder now.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I'm going to somebody vamp. I dare you to vamp for me.
So, once upon a time, 2 kids were walking in the woods and there was a house made of candy and they tried to eat it. All right, cool.
Okay, thanks for vamping. I appreciate it. We got our first story coming up. And of course, it's going to be Ubisoft because I think at least 4 of our stories, maybe 5, are Ubisoft today. But the first one is the official delay of Assassin's Creed Shadows. That's right, folks. Believe it or not, this is something we speculated could happen. I think even Spencer wrote an article about this potentially happening. And here we are today. It happened. They were at an investor earnings call. and this happened. Gentlemen, first reactions just from the headline.
Anyone here notice a pattern about February of the next year on products? It's always something they don't want, mainstream. It's always a dumping ground of garbage, I find, whether it be movies or games. Unless I'm wrong with that. What do you guys think?
No, I think you are 100% correct. I have similar observations. It's funny because Loki and I are going to be dropping a video tomorrow morning about this very subject matter here on That Game Place, which is where we are right now. Yeah, I mean, that observation isn't lost on us, I don't believe. Loki, you're not here for very long, so what do you got to say about this particular event?
I'm not surprised. I'm absolutely not surprised. We knew something was going to happen. I am kind of shocked that they admitted that there may be issues with the game. I'm surprised they didn't come up with some deeper cover for what they're doing. But culture, they've been leveraging that Ubisoft engine so much lately, with all the power that it provided to Star Wars Outlaws, that what else do you expect to happen? I think they're in trouble. They know they're in trouble. They know they've got to wait until some of the heat is off of this and people aren't so upset about it. Maybe they think, well, we'll wait 5 months and people will forget. Well, guess what? Gamers don't forget.
Yeah. And I want to say thanks to all the early birds who showed up early. And of course, I just highlighted a wonderful super chat from Clive Griffiths for £5 sterling for some game tokens. Thank you. Speaking of which, I have something special for you, Clive Griffiths. In fact, I got this for you. Thank you, Clive Griffiths. Yeah, that's your special thank you. Plus, you have proper money. Great British pounds sterling. So thank you for that. All right. Next on the observation window is somebody who's well informed on this. Spencer, yeah, you probably know a little bit about this particular thing. Yeah. Don't you know a little bit about this?
What do you need from me?
Yeah.
Sorry, I stepped away. I sent you a message, but what's up?
Oh, I'm sorry about that. Did you note that? Have you noted that Ubisoft officially delayed Assassin's Creed? And,
no, that's actually what I'm trying to get out right now.
Oh, I'm so sorry. All right, well, go back to writing. Go faster. But okay, so that leaves us with Marvin, the movie monster, who I know was on top of this one.
Yeah, it should be to the surprise of no one. What did surprise me was the fact that they refunded all the pre-orders. You think the pre-orders would just roll over. I think they're making some changes to the season pass model as well. Maybe they're actually taking some of the some of the criticisms to heart. But somebody in the chat, I don't remember who right now, I think hit the nail on the head. Yep, there it is. This due to Black History Month, so they can label all the haters. It's you can't have a problem with this game in February.
Yeah, the problem is that nobody's going to buy this because it's yes, Seriad, I think you're correct, but I also think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Marvin, that it ain't going to help this game.
No, it's not. No, there is no interest in this game, whether you move it to February or whether you move it to the moon, it doesn't matter where it goes. It's that nobody wants this game. And it's going to be another Ubisoft disaster. There ain't nothing soft about Ubisoft's problems.
Yeah. And look, the documents updating the financial targets for fiscal year 2024-2025, they will be dropping this on Valentine's Day, the 14th of February, 2025. So
you give that gift to the lady you're breaking up with, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think you probably don't have a good relationship, but look, they may try to dive into the Black History Month aspect of this to give them a little bit more shield cover, but nothing's going to cover this game. Loki and I have some observations we want you to check out in the morning that I'm not going to spill here about what's going on with this particular game, outside of the fact that this is dropping everywhere the same day. It's dropping on Steam and Ubisoft Minus and all of the other things that they have as well. That tells you that they are desperate for sales. It also tells you that they're willing to risk the fact that people could cancel it.
I called that out. I called that out on the last live stream we did, not yesterday, but the last week, that if they were really worried about how many units they were going to sell, they would release this on all the platforms. It'd be on Epic, it'd be on Steam, it'd be on GOG, it'd be everywhere.
Yeah.
So, and
Well,
what
it
do you
is
know?
going to Steam, so.
Now it's going to Steam. So,
Yeah. What'd you say, Spencer? Or was that you, Marvin?
No, I was just
That was-
noting that. Yeah, that's the one move they made is that it's going to Steam now.
and you can refund it.
Yeah, and that's and like I said, there's they really should just the observations in the chat are correct. They really should just cancel it. To be fair, I mean, I would. There's nothing like admitting defeat because on the heels of another game that's failed, which we'll talk about in a moment. But look, they moved it from November 12th, 2024 to February 14th of 2025. Loki, that's 5 months, right?
Yeah, they've got from now until February to polish this up, to do whatever they're going to do. They're going to give you a free DLC for waiting. They're refunding all your pre-orders, so you're going to have pre-order it again if you want it. But for me, the biggest thing is you've got 2 hours of playtime. They threw down the gauntlet and they said you will love this game after 15 minutes. Well, now because of Steam, you've got a 2-hour window to go, you know what? I actually enjoy this. You know what? It's very disappointing. I will, you know what? Because I put my money where their mouth is, I will give it 15 minutes and see if it changes my mind.
Yeah, I mean, it'll help you shop for car insurance too, probably.
I've got a weird thought here, and it's just speculation. I know they were being pushed to go private again, right? Ubisoft?
Yeah.
So I wonder if they're trying to get some breathing room to go private, and then therefore they don't actually have to give any info to any sort of public investors.
Yeah,
if
but
they
see,
do
that really
release this.
Yeah, but that really hurts the family that it like controls this company, the Guimont family, the 5 brothers that control it. If it were to be taken private, because it'd be taken out of their hands. See, this is the tool that would be utilized would be one of the financial rules in France that allows for the minority of 30% to actually seize or force action in the company. So that would. They could force them to go private, which again would not be in the best interest of
just
the
like
Ubisoft
their elections,
folks. Yeah, well, it's very strange, not great. But we also have like lots of other acknowledgments to do here, like the fact that they were aware of how poorly Outlaws performed, Star Wars Outlaws performed, and that gave them learnings on what to deliver. With this game. Here's the weird thing. I'm going to say something I just want to get your guys' thoughts on. Do you believe that they could delay it even further after this Valentine's Day date?
Sure.
I
not?
don't.
I think
I
it's
honestly
possible.
don't care.
Yeah.
I don't think they will. I don't think they will, but they could.
Loki?
I think they could. The really big thing here, what you just said, was they learned from Star Wars Outlaws. This is a multi-billion-dollar company that does this for a living. Star Wars Outlaws was not their first game. It wasn't their first rodeo. They've got a team of experienced game makers at Ubisoft that have been doing this for a long time. There is no reason why they should be learning lessons from a game they just released and not having already done all of that in the past with previous releases of Assassin's Creed games and other games. This is not them starting over from scratch. They've got their teams in place. They've got the experience. So no excuses here. This is on them. This isn't on them having any kind of learning curve like they just came out with their first game. That is hogwash.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think we have to acknowledge that that's a lot of bologna sausage out there. So I think it's very possible that they could have to delay it again. Their earnings on Outlaws is disappointing. We've got another story coming up talking about that specifically. In fact, today you're going to see a lot of Ubisoft news because Ubisoft is the fastest failing game studio out there. And that's saying something, considering that Sony just lost at least $800 million in total. That's my guess. Not confirmed as of yet, but 400 million on the game itself, a Concord. Not to mention the cost to purchase the studio, which was Firewalk. You've got, and then all the advertising for that game, which is probably somewhere around a couple $100 million. You're looking at, in my estimation, $800 million wasted on one game and studio. That's not good. Sony dropped that money. Ubisoft is dropping even more on consecutive failures and the loss of customers. These folks don't get it. Then they're going to learn it faster than anybody else. But we have a super chat I want to grab before we move along. Everybody will get a final word here in a second. Jacob Foxfire for $2 worth of tokens. That's $9 total, folks, or 10 basically, because of the Great British pounds being worth a bit more. Thank you all. Put a fork in Ubisoft. They're cooked. Yeah, I think you're right, gentlemen. Is Ubisoft cooked, or are we estimating their death prematurely?
It would take quite a major turnaround for them to rebound from this. Failure after failure after abysmal failure. At this point, their name is just mud. So they would have to come out with something just universally beloved to dig themselves out of the hole that they've dug themselves into.
Right. Yeah, I think you're right. Anyone else have thoughts on that? Final thoughts on this particular story, gentlemen?
The only thing I think it does, sorry, Loki, real quick.
Oh, you're
is that
good. Go ahead.
It sets them up potentially for a hostile takeover at what they're at right now. So
Yeah, I think
I
that's
don't know
true.
if regulators would allow that, but if I were somebody that wanted the titles and the talent, some of the talent, I would be really eyeballing Ubisoft right now and how vulnerable they are and just scoop them up.
Yeah. Anyone else?
I think Ubisoft, when a lot of this started and it started happening was when we got the Assassin's Creed, what was Sparta, Greece. It's the one where they're in Greece.
Odyssey.
Thank you. It started with Odyssey. It started with the sequel to Far Cry 5, where they started to treat their games like a live service. We want you to buy coin. We want you to buy rare materials with real money. We want you to do all these little things. And they started putting these weird level caps in their games where you had to basically grind like it was an MMO. They did the same thing with Ghost Recon. This has only gotten worse since then. I really believe that was the beginning of the demise. They can't pivot. They have shown no ability to pivot with their situation and go, you know what, maybe this isn't working out. Maybe we need to go back to our roots. They've never, ever done that. I don't think they're capable of doing that. I think we're in the middle of the end. We started out with Odyssey and with New Dawn, and now this is where we're at and we're close. Maybe in the next couple of years, that's going to be it, because they just can't pivot and fix what they're doing wrong.
Yeah, let's move on to maybe Spencer's thoughts if he's available. I know he's writing like a journalist does.
I mean, here's my thoughts on this. This is really bad for Ubisoft. This is a disaster. This was supposed to be their big win. So yeah, that's super interesting. On my own personal end, I kind of am sort of over talking about Assassin's Creed Shadows because I don't really know what else there is to say. Yeah, it's going to be terrible. Yeah, Ubisoft is failing. This is, I know people are going to hate what I have to say, but if anything, this is a step in the right direction for them. If you do like Ubisoft, because they are admitting that this wasn't working, we need to go back and fix things. So slight W where it is. Of course, they're not going to scrap everything. That's just unrealistic. But what they will be able to do is, refine the gameplay, fix all the graphical issues, so on and so forth. Is that going to save the game? Absolutely not. But at least it shows that they are waking up to the fact that their feet are being held to the fire.
I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. I think that is a good way of looking at this. And I think that we've seen what their definition of golden game is with Star Wars Outlaws. So it was probably in a very similar condition to Star Wars Outlaws, and they wanted to,
Well,
stop
remember,
that
we even
situation from happening again.
We even got that most recent trailer that was like the world tour trailer, right? That was supposed to show off the landscape and everything. And in that trailer that released just like a week ago, there was clipping through characters, there were messed up animations, and that's not even getting into all of the historical details. I mean, just like technical stuff was abysmal. You had cloth that was just there clipping through everything. It was another Ubisoft slop, kind of like what Loki was saying about their reputation being in the toilet.
Yeah, and look, this isn't their only game failure. They've had consecutive failures or decrease in sales across the board, much like their stock price, right? We've all been monitoring that. And look, Spencer, I'm not going to disagree with you. There's not much more to say other than maybe this is a step in the right direction, but my goodness, it's not fast enough. Speaking of amazing things, though, Angmar WK for $5 worth of
Definitely
tokens.
not enough.
That's right. Thank you. I'm not surprised they delayed it. I find the timing interesting. Isn't Ghost of Yotei releasing in 2025 as well? Yes. In fact, we are actually dropping a video on that tomorrow or Friday, I think. I don't know which. Jonas is in charge of video releasing. I'm just in charge of video making.
What day is even today?
Today's Wednesday for now. For now, it's Wednesday, at least here in the U.S. anyway. But thank you all for your massive contributions in tokens today. We are getting closer to being able to not just have games, but pizza. So thank you for that. And for all of you being here today, we are rising in audience count, almost 100 of you here right now. Share the stream, share the dream. Let gamers know everywhere, far and wide, that the amazing That Game Place Live is here and going. Speaking of things that are going and amazing, we already have a leaderboard update. Let me get the super chat out the way. All right, ciao. That's right. Again, gold supporter. Today's big supporter is still Clive Griffiths. Coming in a close second within just a few pennies is our friend Angmar WK, and bronze supporter is a tie with TGV Monster and Jacob Foxfire. Look at that. Look at that. All right, so we had to update the top board, and we had to get to the next story. And we're scooting right along because we don't have Loki for but a few more moments. So I will be
Get in!
pushing us onto another Ubisoft story, and this is going to make Spencer just want to crawl out of here on his hands and knees and run away, because Star Wars Outlaws, which we just mentioned, is absolutely and completely, tanking, flagging. I don't know. Use your
Tanked.
yeah, exactly. The past tense of tanked, failed, flopped. You pick. This story dropped yesterday in several locations in various forms and formats. Here you can see that, Star Wars Outlaws nearly falls out of the top 40. This is one of the reasons that they decided to delay from the learnings of this game with Assassin's Creed Shadows. So less than a month after release, this thing is fallen, and it can't get up. Out of 3.1 million PlayStation Network accounts over on True Trophies, you're seeing that Star Wars Outlaws ranked in 39th position in its 4th weeks on the charts. That's behind games that were released over a year ago: Hogwarts Legacy, God of War Ragnarok, which I believe is 2 years old now. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. And Ghost of Tsushima. And as I said, all three of those are over a year old. And you can see from True Trophies and PSN Profiles, both sites I go to regularly, show a total of, somebody do math on that. Is that like 16,090 people in total?
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Now, mind you, this isn't everybody. Not everybody links their trophy stuff to True Trophies or PSN Profiles, but many do. And you got to remember that there really weren't all that many people that managed to score trophies over on Concord and or any of these other studio items. So Black Myth Wukong, though, has 26,000 owners and 22 according to PSN. So there's almost, somebody do more math for me, almost 50,000.
Oh, hail the CCP.
Well, there you go. Well, I don't know about that. I'm not rooting for that. I'm just rooting for a good game, Spencer. Space Marine, of course, Space Marine 2 has 12,000 folks that have linked their trophies, as has PSN Profiles have 7,500. So that's
It's a good game.
19,000.
If you haven't played it, it's fun.
Yeah. So when you look at it, you get a percentage of people that actually purchase said game and what they are willing to, the time they're willing to put into it, and the trophies they're willing to collect. I think, if and correct me if I'm wrong, only 4 people got the completion trophy on Concord, according to both of those sites in total.
Yes.
Yeah, that's wild, right? Or is that just me? Am I just crazy? I think it's wild. Yeah. But look, I mean, the whole reason to bring that story up wasn't anything more than the fact that, they definitely learned something from that in order to delay Assassin's Creed Shadows. Any further reactions beyond that, other than the fact that falling out of the top 40 is not exactly a great sign?
No, definitely not.
Star Wars is, man, it's like the dead horse they keep beating into
Hey, if
glue
they
at
had
this
a
point.
good game, people enjoy it, it would be selling like hotcakes.
Yeah.
Look at Jedi Survivor was Jedi
Yeah.
Survivor, Fallen Order. Those games were fantastic and they sold well. It's just a matter of you made a game that nobody wanted and that didn't work. And now it has a reputation. And the thing about PC gamers is they are the gamers that pay attention mostly to the gaming news. So yeah, I think there was never a chance that it was going to succeed on.
Well, I got to ask you, Marvin and Spencer and Loki and Space Dave. Do the trophies mean something though? I mean, because most of those trophies and those those markers along the way, those indicate people's level of interest and their staying power in a game, right? I mean, the more trophies collected, the more people have stayed in the game. Or is that wrong?
Okay, so I'm sort of torn on this, because on one hand, they're just like, yes, you can gauge how interested people are in a game by how many trophies are obtained, because everybody will get some level of trophy, whether that's like in Halo, one of the achievements you can get is when you wake up as Master Chief. Just, oh, did you calibrate your controls? Good morning, Master Chief. There's 5. All right, great, cool. Everybody gets that one, so you can sort of gauge there how many people
are playing
something.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
I don't usually look at trophies as an indicator of how good or how popular a game is, because trophies aren't necessarily, I mean, they're just extra ancillary things that are, normally for completionists. Go find all of these items, make sure you got all of these outfits, go talk to all of these characters. Not
It's more of a
necessarily
checklist.
Right, exactly.
You can also
there's something to do there, but it's not a necessity. Yeah, go Marvin.
No, I would say certain trophies are indicators, though, like what you're saying, the ones that you get, like the trophy that you get for completing a campaign, like completing the game's story mode. That's a good indicator of how many people have actually, played through the whole game, because everybody gets that one. So yeah, I agree.
But then you look at some games, like you look at like Halo Reach, right? That has a big level of insane multiplayer achievements. And not everybody can achieve them. Yep. But that game is massively popular and people still play it all the time. So I think the delineation is exactly what Marvin said, where you can look at the trophies to see sort of a general interest, but you can't really look at trophy amount percentage completion as a good indicator of, is the game good? Do people like the game? So on and so forth. There are probably a lot of people out there loving Wukong who probably will not go and get the perfect boss run achievements and all that stuff, because that's just not up their wheelhouse. They got better things to do. They got jobs. So there's a fine line, or not even a fine line. Marvin had it. Just defer to Marvin.
Okay, fair enough.
Gentlemen, I've got a jet.
All right.
Thank you guys for having me. You guys love you too, Spencer. You guys are absolutely great. Everybody out there watching, keep supporting this place. It is absolutely great. We bring you the news. We bring you everything that's going on. We give you our honest opinion. This isn't retreading someone else's stuff. This isn't kissing the butt of the gaming industry. We tell you how we feel as gamers. Thank you for having me, guys. And you guys keep being real. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Loki. Thanks for being
here. Loki.
Bye.
Later, everybody.
Bye. All right. And he's out. Bye, Loki. Okay. Let's get down to the brass tacks. We've got more and more stories the funny thing is, there so many of them are tied directly to tied to Ubisoft that we're going to have to skip off and do something different. Just for a moment, I promise you, we'll be back with Ubisoft soon
I was going to say, we can still talk about them.
We'll be back. We'll be back. And we've got some great stories coming out abounding as well. But let's start here with some interesting and fun news, I think, because I like Nintendo. You know, now I sound like who do I sound like?
Jonas.
Jonas!
No. I do
Jonas.
sound like Jonas, but who was the actress that people didn't like very much? With
that's
Where do we start?
she's got
Which one?
Brie Larson.
Ah.
Yeah, I like Nintendo. Yes, you do. All the Nintendo. No, but yeah, Brie's
when did
actually
she say
great.
that?
Way back when, but at the beginning of the hate train that she started.
Goodness.
Yeah, I've been around
Fellow
a while.
gamers, I'm one of you.
That's right. Hello, fellow gamer. Speaking of which, but this is good
It's kind
news.
of like, have you seen that? There's a recent interview Jack Black did. I think he was on like The View or one of those daytime TV shows, and he's talking about the Minecraft movie. And somebody was like, "So, like, what's your prep been for Minecraft? Like, or have you been playing or whatever?" And his response is like, "Oh, yeah, for the past month, I've been immersed in the Minecraft universe. I've been Minecrafting all the time." And I'm like, "That you clearly have not done it at all. You have no idea what you're talking about."
If Jack Black prepped for his role in Minecraft, I think it would be the first time Jack Black has ever prepped for a role.
I agree.
Hey,
with
that's
that.
not fair. He probably ate a bunch of dumplings for Kung Fu Panda.
Okay.
Yeah. Of course, he probably regularly eats lots of dumplings anyway. He kind of looks
That was
like
the joke.
Oh, okay. It's me explaining the joke that he looks like a dumpling. Okay. Anyway, all right, fair enough. I'm ashamed of my shaming. I'm bad. But I'm not bad when it comes to Nintendo. So let's bring up the story. I want to hear you guys' game reactions from all these wonderful humans. The Legend of Zelda's Echoes of Wisdom, a refreshing, magic-filled retool of Link's Awakening engine. Let me ask you guys a question. Did you know this game was out there?
I didn't know it
Yep.
released.
Oh yeah.
For sure. Yep.
Okay. I did not know it would made it out in the world, but I know it's been reviewed. So let's take a look at this review real quickly. Coming up to us from Games Radar. They like it. I mean, the Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, refreshing, albeit brief. So I guess we don't expect long gameplay. They're using a brand new magic to battle and solve puzzles. Fits neatly into the top-down Zelda formula, despite missteps. I think it looks pretty interesting. When I saw some clips of this game, they say performance is spottier than Link's Awakening remake. Unwieldy menus can cause echo fatigue. I don't know. Does that mean like fatigue? And
That's how you do the power. You like go on like a wheel sort of, and you like select
Right.
which magic spell to use, and then you use it.
Yeah, it's not just the game mechanic that's always been there.
No, not necessarily. You didn't really ever have to like stop, select spell from menu, and go, right? You would maybe have it assigned to a button,
You
or you
mapped
would have
it.
to put
Yeah,
it on.
you mapped it.
it.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, so at best, lets players go off the script and create aha moments that Zelda games genuinely haven't seen before. Slotting a magician into the shoes of a longtime sword and shield hero is mostly amazing in action. Convert longtime Hyrulean monsters to do our bidding, then manipulate the world to redefine where, when, and how we can go. So is that saying it's a strange now open world mechanic? What folks?
Maybe that's what it reads like.
Yeah.
I just don't know how open world you can go.
I mean, I've heard things. Yeah, you can do some interesting things. So it is more open than the previous versions of this engine. So.
Yeah, the reviewer is saying that it's the good ideas run out too quickly, and what could have been a 12-hour game drags to an 18 or 20-hour mark. So, is he saying it's boring?
Okay, no, I don't think he's saying it's boring. I think this is reading
Grindy?
between. Yeah, I think it's just once you get towards the end, it gets a little stale, a little, okay, I know what we're doing at this point. We just sort of got to close it out.
Repetitive, maybe.
Yeah,
repetitive is the good word.
I'm glad we have two people here that speak game. Well, actually, just journalism or writer. Because
how dare you? That's better. Okay, there we go.
Okay, you're both writers. Yeah, not you're not journalists. But see, look, there's a difference between journalist and urinalism. So I'm just saying. Anyway, But the fact that this game is out there in the world, I say I'm excited about. So you learned a bed echo. That's exciting. Learning an echo. So yeah, we start with a Link fake out. Don the usual green tunic, destroy monsters, and defeat Zelda kidnapping Big Bad Ganon. Well, that's kind of like the game. This intro loudly assumes we know classic Legend of Zelda archetypes in order to break them apart. Let me tell you this. If you're playing this game at this point, you kind of know, right?
I would think
Yeah,
so.
that's what they're saying.
Yeah. So, yeah, I look, the whole fact is they give it some pretty decent review scores. Are you guys interested in playing this game despite maybe this
I don't typically
authors?
play Zelda. I don't typically play Zelda unless it's like one of the big releases, like a Breath of the Wild or a Tears of the Kingdom or one of those. I don't typically play these more like cartoony ones, but my soon to be missus might actually do that. So we'll see.
Okay. And this is the one downside that I can understand. Once my deck exceeded 60, I slammed into echo fatigue. This due in large part to Nintendo's excruciating lack of echo sorting options. Players can't tap like on a favorite to quickly access it. They can't create smaller radial wheels of 8 to 10 grouped echoes for easier reference. A few sorting options like most use, last learned, and type help a bit, but they just order the full echo roster in a left to right menu. Okay, now I understand what they were talking about. So it just the interface is not premium. It doesn't make for an easy, intuitive management. I understand.
Well,
okay.
they're essentially saying that, but they're also saying they would have liked, let me make a bunch of custom wheels, which like I get, but I think that's a bit of a nitpick, which is, to their credit, it doesn't sound like they're making it a big point of their review, and that's fully their right.
No, yeah, I get it. And look, I mean, I really enjoyed Awakening remake, so I'm weird though because it looked beautiful. Did you guys see that game? It was amazing.
Here's the thing. It is very beautiful. This engine's really pretty. There's just something about this art style that I don't particularly like. Like, I love Link's Awakening. That first original Game Boy one was one of my first games. I play it pretty regularly whenever I get a chance, and I just couldn't get behind Link's Awakening. And so, sort of like to your question before, am I going to play this one? Probably not, just because of the art style, but the gameplay and everything looks really cool. If they remaster it someday and make it look like Wind Waker, maybe I'll get behind it. But yeah, the art style is pretty. It's just, I don't know. There's something about it, and maybe somebody in the chat has the same sentiment, that like I can't get behind. Not that it's bad, it just doesn't work for me personally.
I can speak into that because I did the review of Link's Awakening, the new engine version on the channel.
Oh, perfect.
Here, so
yeah.
And I was it's a little
review. Yeah.
It's a little, the art style's a little kiddie for me, like and that's okay.
Yeah,
it's a very broad group, and the story I felt was a little bit, in general, not one of the strongest Zelda stories or Link stories. But it was a good game. It was fun. It was a little muddled in spots. So, but I do see this engine. I don't see a lot of advantage of it. It's kind of even now dated. So, but it is a pretty art style if you're into that, just for that. But this game doesn't sound that interesting other than a time waster to me. Like, I don't know if anyone else feels that way, but I'd have to play it, I guess, to really know. But
yeah, I think I'm right there with you, where like it seems like it's probably fun, and I honestly am. I bet money, like putting money where, like, if I picked it up, I'd probably have a lot of fun with it. There's just nothing, sort of like Marvin was saying, there's nothing compelling me to play it. I don't see it and go like, oh, I got to get my hands on that. It's sort of more like oh, that's neat. And then if I saw it at like my niece or nephew's house, I'd probably have a fun time playing it, but I'm not running out right now to grab it.
And to be clear, it's not because it's Zelda herself.
Right,
if any of those haters are out there, it has nothing to do with her. It's just, it has to be a story that kind of piques our interest, because we've been playing Zelda for 3 decades now, and we're looking for something a little fresh, a little new. This doesn't really seem to pique my interest or flag anything like that.
Yeah, I think we're going to see more Zelda actually being involved in the actual activities here in the near future. Marvin, any thoughts on this game, or are you going to take a pass?
Probably take a pass.
Fair enough.
I don't begrudge it its existence. I think it's fun for people that enjoy that style of Zelda game. It's just not my kind of thing.
All right, fair enough. Well, let's take a look at the supers that are out there in the world. We got some more coming in, including from some of our major hitters here. Let's get to some of the starred super chats from the folks out there. TGV Monster for $5 worth of token says, I'm very worried about the next Resident Evil. It's too quiet, and Capcom may have been tainted. He said taint by the message. Yes. Thank you, Spencer. Honestly, though, I will say, yeah, I think Capcom has maybe had some Kool-Aid, and there's some indications there. I don't know what's going to happen with Resident Evil. I just want it to be a Resident Evil game. I mean, you guys want to react to this at all? I mean, I don't know.
One of my very best friends in this world he loves Resident Evil. It's like his main game franchise that he loves. I've never been one to get into it because when I was a kid, I didn't like anything horror related. So
Right.
But now that I do, I think it's just too much to go back and replay everything because I'm a completionist.
I'm in the
Yeah, I
same
know.
boat as Marvin. Yeah, I just never really got into it. I played one of them, but yeah, it just never really caught my interest. Now, would I like to go back if I had some spare time? Sure, but as you said, Marvin, it's kind of a big investment to go from what they've made all the way up to now. So it didn't. This hasn't really caught my eye either. I'm not too sure about it. Marvin, sorry, Spencer, you're an expert though. Go for it, sir.
Yeah, I was just going to say, so Resident Evil, I don't necessarily worry about it going like DEI and neoliberal and all that stuff in its writing and plot per se. It sort of seems that no matter what that series wants to do, because of its core identity, like it sticks to its core thing of we're fighting zombies and the Umbrella Corporation. So we don't really have time to delve into identity politics, right? There's no, this strain affects people more than, that race or yada, yada, yada. So I'm never really worried on that end. I'm more worried about the behind the scenes, like casting stuff, because with, the casting, the censorship, the designs, all that sort of stuff. Because we've seen, with Resident Evil 3 remake, Resident Evil 4 remake, they are sort of taking those more modern audience development trappings and including them, right? Like one of the ones I always bring up is the voice actress for Ada Wong. In the original RE4, she was a white woman. I forget exactly who it was. And she delivered a performance that was very much the campy seductress Bond, like not Bond girl, but like the femme fatale, right? In the remake, because Ada Wong is Chinese, they went, oh, we have to cast authentically. So they got an Asian voice actress to voice her. And the voice actress is terrible. She sounds like this all the time. She sounds like she just woke up. Hey, Leon, you're looking cute over there. Like, it's terrible. And that's sort of, if that's what they're going to lean towards, they went with the worst option just because it was the like right type of diversity, and that's the stuff that makes me worried about where their production is going to go. And that's to say nothing of where Capcom is in general as a company. So what's the right term? Wait and see.
Yeah,
Sounds
I think that's where we're at, right? Is wait and see, but that would be the case for a whole lot of other stuff right now. And I have to tell you, I think that the problem with wait and see, or you don't feel confident in something, is that you're not going to get the sales that really you would have if you just made your audience feel comfortable. If they got this, an inkling of where you were headed.
I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. I think maybe you can apply that to pre-orders, but there are a lot of times when a game or a movie or something comes out and I had no interest in it, and one of you guys or somebody I trust says, "Oh, this is actually pretty cool. You should check it out." Then I'll go, "Okay, cool," and then they get my $60 whatever 2 months later because I
word
just
of mouth
had exactly.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I think there's a lot to be said for that. But we've got even more. Let's take a look at Let's take a look at the current leaderboard because we got more supers coming in. But let's grab Machine's first. This is an enormous amount of game tokens. $20. Thank you for that, Machine draws. So apparently it's unrealistic to have an erotic photo minigame in a post-apocalyptic setting where you have 72 hours to survive in a mall. Okay, explain why a Vietnam veteran is not allowed to say the word communist. That's a good question. Anyone?
What's he talking about? He's talking about.
He's talking about the Dead Rising remaster.
Yeah, that's what I thought he was talking about. Yeah, I heard they were editing this kind of stuff, which is just nonsensical to me. I mean, it's rewriting history to make current day comfortable. Just don't even bother with the remake, then, in my opinion.
Yeah, ask yourself a question, Space Dave, and everyone else here, including you, Mr. Marvin. Do you think it would affect sales if they didn't change it? If they didn't lean into the modern audience that doesn't exist anyway, if they didn't lean into that, would it affect sales in a negative way?
No, definitely not.
Oh, absolutely not.
What does that tell you?
Like that I mean, there's still a bunch of problems with the game. I have no idea what I was going to say. I was going to go on a rant about how the game is just busted, but
the first one, it had a lot of glitches, but
no, I mean this
remake,
a good game. It's still
the remake. I see.
Bugged out. Audio clips,
really?
like it's not a good production.
Yeah, that's not a good news then either. So you're going to drive people away by doing stuff like this, which is taking away core elements, or at least core story.
So if you didn't fix the game in the first place with your quote-unquote remake, see the quote things I used? If you didn't fix it in the first place, and then you're inserting modern audience stuff, a la what Machine's talking about here, do you think sales will be good or no?
Okay, so here's where my take, like I'm going to be a slight devil's advocate or doomsayer, because even though I am on this side and I'm with everybody here, the reality is that the discourses over things like censorship or modern audiences unfortunately don't move the needle one way or another, whether it's all that past stuff was racist, or they're changing all of this stuff just to appeal to people who will never play the game. It causes a sizable shift. We all know about it. I know there are people like me who have passed on many games because they made a change to a character design. But I unfortunately realize that we are right now still in the minority. We're growing. More and more people are realizing what we're realizing, but we're still in the minority. I think it really does boil down to they're releasing a fundamentally buggy, broken
game.
Product. Yeah. If the game played like a charm and it was super, great in everything else, we would still be having this discussion, and everybody in our sphere would rightfully still be pointing it out. But I think we wouldn't be talking about it being a sales disaster. I think more casual people would have jumped on it. But when you just when you do low effort things like this, it doesn't really serve you, because in the end, now what happens? Now the casual audiences see that you released a really bad, cheap, cash grab, buggy product, and the more deep, the deeper audience, the deeper gamers, if you will, the more hardcore, the deeper ones, they know, you guys tried to pander with this and it didn't work. That's why it really is a lose-lose situation here.
Yeah.
You'll get praise from Kotaku and a couple people on Twitter, but that's about you're trading your reputation as a company of somebody who can be trusted to handle game development and art and properties for 5 minutes of fame, if that. 5 minutes of social media fame.
Yeah, which doesn't work out well. And John, I'm telling you right now, we're going to get to this story. Ubisoft is the main focus because of all the stories that are written around it today. We started off with 2 in a row. We're going to get back to it in just a moment. But I wanted to talk a little bit about Final Fantasy. I can't do that just yet because, I missed this super chat that I need to bring up on the screen from our good friend Machine for $10 worth of tokens. We're almost at pizza time, guys. This is amazing. Ubisoft knows darn well how low these numbers would be if they would be compared to the likes of Concord, Dustborn, and other single player offerings. That's why Outlaws isn't on Steam yet. I think Outlaws isn't on Steam is because they were trying to make it a proprietary game. And
yeah, they were trying to do that Epic Store exclusive stuff.
It doesn't work very well. T. Neal for 5 more. That's amazing. Do you realize that right now we could buy a pizza and have a full day of games? I love this for 5.
Is our-
Hawaiian Punch.
That's
Can
right.
I ask, is our arcade in a bowling alley? Because I'd really like to do some bowling too. If that's the case.
No, I know, but we can change arcade locations for sure. But Elder Scrolls Online used to have a trophy for falling through the world map and drowning. Not sure if that's an
That's
accident
incredible.
or a cover for poor workmanship. T. Neal, you just gave me an idea. I'm going to go in pursuit of this trophy.
That's very self-aware, at least. So.
Yeah, well, they know how buggy the game is. I mean, let's be fair. So, yeah. And again, I appreciate all the generosity coming in the form of these super chats. We got one more from Base Player 2011 Iffy for $5 worth of tokens. I agree. I'm nervous about Resident Evil 9. Not necessarily because of DEI, but because after 7, Capcom went right back to resting on their laurels. Yeah, and I think that's a bigger problem indeed, right? 7 was pretty good.
7 was Village, correct?
Yeah,
is that the one?
Yeah.
No, 7 was just 7. That was the one where you were first person. You were what's his name? I forget the guy's name, and you went with the zombie house, or like the Deliverance style house with the
Right.
redneck zombies. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
John said earlier the zombies were just misunderstood. I think that's probably the case. But
You just got to talk to them.
you just look, just sit down, have a dialogue, and if they eat your face
Have
off,
a dialogue.
if they eat your face off, they eat your face off. But thank you for that. I love it. We've got lots of great ones out there right now,
The
including
differently living.
there you go, including the Jacob Foxfires for $10 more in tokens. My goodness, generous. It comes down to the normies. Yes, they are the lifeblood and everything. Like with the whole Pal World and Pokemon lawsuit, we can see it, but do normies care? Or do they want a good game with nice monsters? I think they want a good game with nice monsters. I think you're right to point out the difference between normies and actual gamers, or hardcore, I should say. Let's say hardcore gamers, because that sounds like even more hello fellow kids. But honestly, let's call that out and just say, yeah. I mean, there is a difference here. But the thing is word of mouth has been affecting games like crazy. So I know that we don't want to assume the responsibility for, some of the stuff that's been happening. But maybe we should. Maybe we should say that we are having an influence with word of mouth. I think we are. I think that's why channels like this exist. I think it's why you guys are all here right now.
I will let our audience decide that. I will never be one to say that we are doing this. That I feel like that just leads to too many ego traps.
I don't have an ego. So
what's going to power my ego other than that? I mean, come on, guys.
Yeah. Did you just say I had an ego?
I said you could potentially get one.
All right. Well, it'd be nice. I like to have an ego. Be a lot of fun. Yes, but I'll say this. Normies don't care. Normies just want a good game. And traditionally, gamers just want
And they don't even necessarily want a good game. Like Shadows would have sold. Shadows will sell. Maybe not a bunch, but it'll sell.
Objectively, though, not everyone sees, and we've had this discussion on the panel before.
Yeah.
What is good to you is not necessarily good to me. So that's the way the world runs in general. So Marvin might love something I don't love, and Spencer, et cetera, but that's great because we can discuss why we do.
Okay.
Maybe, as you said, Spencer, we'll get somebody on board with this franchise, or
And for those of you that don't know, I'm going to out Marvin. Marvin, what game did you pre-order?
I don't think we need to talk about that. I don't think the audience is very.
We can talk about personal things off stream.
I don't think the audience is interested in any of that.
Are you sure?
I got Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, if that's what
It's a
you're
good
referring
choice.
to. It was
That's
one
the
of two
game we were
games.
talking about.
One of two
yeah.
games that I
No.
pre-ordered the other day.
Wait, yeah. What was the other one?
Oh gosh,
Assassin's
I
Creed
can't.
Shadows.
No. All right, it was Dragon Age Veilguard. I will not. I will say it's Dragon Age Veilguard because I will not have Spencer say that it was Assassin's Creed Shadows.
There you go. So are you going to review the Veilguard for us?
That's the plan. Yeah.
Yeah. Do I get to be there to watch your tears flow?
Oh, I mean, maybe it sounds like it might, because this was one of my favorite franchises of all time, and it has turned into what it's turned into. And I am gonna, I mean, yeah, I gotta give my character the top surgery scars, though, right?
I think you should.
No, so honestly, so here is my thing about playing this game. I am curious as to whether or not, because choice has always been such a huge part of all BioWare games,
right?
If you can go through this game and not actually encounter any of this. So I'm going to try through my choices to have a normal gaming experience and see if it actually works or if I'm inundated with propaganda.
Well, I would say that you're going to be confronted with it right away in the character creator, but I mean, can you not participate in it? Probably. I'm interested. We'll have to see. Can't wait for your review. I just thought everybody should know.
Because the way that you interact with characters is all up to you. So, you know, if you're not talking, yeah.
True.
So you're hoping they don't pigeonhole your your responses, right? Make you say something you don't want.
Okay, but okay, so we all watched the state of play yesterday because we were doing a live stream on it, right? Everybody raise your hands, virtually.
Yep.
So Spencer, you state of play. Marvin, I know you were state of play. So let's do this. Let's say, did the game look good when you saw it yesterday?
No. God, no. It looked terrible. It's just I've played all the other ones. I was explaining this to Spencer earlier. I'm very defensive of BioWare. Like, I want BioWare to be good so badly because I remember how good it used to be when I was playing Jade Empire and KOTOR and the first two Mass Effects. And Mass Effect 3 up to the last 10 minutes.
Jade Empire. Oh, my goodness.
Jade Empire.
Jade Empire, you can do some messed up stuff in that game.
I feel like we could have a full-blown channel dedicated to Jade Empire with that reaction that me and Dave just had. So
it's a classic.
But yeah, I always hope BioWare is gonna rally, but it's not happening. So,
well, okay, but I just is that game gonna sell? Because it didn't look good. Is it gonna sell to normies? I guess was the ultimate end question to that whole stream of thought. Is it going to sell to normies? Is that BioWare game, going to sell to normies?
I don't think so.
Can we define what a normie is nowadays? Because what a normie is now is not what it was 20 years ago, I feel. So what would we say is a normie now? Like an informed person or like a whale? Is that what we're talking about? Or
I think it would probably be a whale. I think it would probably be a whale at this point.
So somebody going off nostalgia would grab that game.
Well, that's not a normie.
See,
okay.
Yeah. That's what I would consider. I would consider a normie somebody who isn't fully online all the time, isn't really in this discourse. So they see Assassin's Creed Shadow and they go, "Ooh, an Assassin's Creed game! Look, I can be a samurai." Like they're not engaging with it as deeply as we are.
No,
they're the kind of people who they got a 360 at Costco because it was part of a bundle and it's sitting there, and maybe they got like Just Dance and a couple Call of Duty games.
Right. No, I get that.
For Christmas.
Yeah, exactly. Christmas gift. Never opened again.
Yeah, I agree with that. And in
I
that case,
have games like that, by the way.
It's hard to say because Concord seemed like a normie game, right? At face value, and then it tanked like nobody's business. So it's hard to say.
I don't think Concord was a normie game. It's sort of the same way that I don't think Veilguard is being marketed as like a normie game, right? So look at what Marvin was saying about old BioWare. Look at all the old games from KOTOR to Jade Empire to all the old Dragon Age games. Those were all presented and marketed and sent out into the world as very, how do I put this? Not generic, but very accessible experiences, right? Here's a Star Wars RPG. Here's a Knight and Dragon fantasy RPG. But what we're seeing now with these games is, like with Concord and with Veilguard, is they're getting too niche. It's sort of what we heard with Concord. It's that toxic positivity. Nobody is around anymore to go, maybe this isn't the necessary direction we want to go in. And so you see them going, oh, normies like Guardians of the Galaxy, and they liked Overwatch, and they liked these quips from the Avengers. So let's all throw this into the pot, and this is what you guys all like, right? And then they go from that to appealing to the terminally online, which is why all of the Veilguard, not just the character creator stuff, but look at all the trailers. All of the like that very first trailer had that stupid Suicide Squad style intro thing where it would like, hey, what's going on, guys? And then it would cut to them getting like running around, and then they got caught by a monster, and then it would flash their name in big letters with their class underneath it, right? Like that. This is all being appealed and marketed specifically to the terminally online, and that isn't a big enough audience to do anything. If I showed Concord to a regular friend of mine, you know, I have friends who play Overwatch or regular games. If I showed them Concord, they would go, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
Like, why would I want to play this? This isn't for me. Meanwhile, everybody in the Concord boardroom's going, oh, we designed this for that representation, and we designed this so you would feel included. Yeah. And everybody else is going, I don't care. It's ugly. Like, yeah. I'm gonna go play Call of Duty where everybody doesn't look awful.
Well, yeah, I mean, I mean, they're aesthetically natural. I mean, they look like normal beings. Even if there's aliens, you want them. I mean, Tiara Lasoni in, you know,
Liara Tassoni.
Yeah, I mean, she looked like a normal being, an alien that looked like a normal being, like a naturally attractive normal being, right? Or maybe that's just me.
Attractive is the problem.
It's all about the Krogans, bro.
Well, the Krogans look like, you know, they're viable. I mean, it's like somebody smashed the front of the gator. Anyway, all right, let's get to the next one from Jacob Foxbar for $5 more in tokens. Thank you. Says, oh yeah, did you hear the news that the movie theaters will focus on other activities like bowling alleys, arcades, and pickleball?
Yes, I've noticed that in Canada. Yeah, it's happening. Yep.
I'm glad this got brought up because culture or who. I think I was talking with Pro. I wish Jonas was here because somebody made a joke to Jonas the other night while we were recording a video about, oh, Jonas, were you playing pickleball? And he was like, I have no idea what that is. I have no idea what you're talking about. And it made me laugh when he said that because I had just read this news where the movie theaters are announcing, oh yeah, we're going to bring in entertainment, and their entertainment offerings are like bowling, arcades, and pickleball. And I'm like, pickleball is such a flash in the pan thing. Why are you guys? It's going to take you 3 or 4 years to get this off the ground.
We played pickleball in gym in high school, and I thought my gym teacher made it up. I had never heard of it before. And it was like we're gonna play like enormous ping pong on a tennis court with a ping pong paddle and a wiffle ball. Yeah. And I was like, Mister, you made this up.
Why not just play tag at this point? I mean, come on, guys.
Look, I'm in an area now where there's a lot of hoitsy-toitsy folks, and they all are doing this kind of stuff, and the theaters have already installed this years ago. So arcade, bowling alley, full-blown restaurant, you know, bar. You know, one of them has 4 pickleball courts that you have to like rent out and stuff, and I mean, it's starting to become a thing, and I think it's going to be a thing.
Zip lining in the movie theater too. I'm seeing the zip lines too now. Apparently,
even zip lining makes more sense to me than pickleball. Pickleball to me just seems like such a flash in the pan thing.
They even have babysitting services at the theaters now. So
okay, so here's the question: what are they going? They have a set amount of space they've already paid for, correct?
Yeah.
So does that imply they're removing some of the actual theaters to include these bowling alleys?
No,
arcades?
I think so.
Okay,
go ahead.
I got really confused when I was looking at this article because it keeps saying like NATO is investing in these theaters, and I'm like, wait, what? And it's the National Association of Theater Owners, NATO.
Yeah.
I was like, NATO. I was like, I would think NATO would. I would think NATO would have better things to do with their time.
Yeah, and money, right? But back when Fithian Nathan Fithian was running the NATO, the National Association of Theatrical Exhibitor Ownership, or whatever it was. He was actually the one proposing them that they do these types of things, and a lot of theaters here in my little area have built these things when they built the theaters. So they have these outdoor spaces for the pickleball. They have indoor spaces for the bowling alley. And then they have, like, the 16 theaters or whatever, that they have. I mean, this has been happening. I mean, Alamo Drafthouse was kind of the initiator of, like, hey, let's have a date night that's, a nice meal, nice bar, nice movie. So it's not new.
AMC started rolling out the AMC dine-in theaters. I mean, over a decade and a half ago. So yeah, it seems like it's just kind of like a natural progression. I thought adding 4DX theaters was going to be a big thing. That it's kind of catching on. Regal has a lot of 4DX theaters, but
you're seeing more and more of them nationally, but indeed. So thank you for that, Jacob Foxfire, climbing the leaderboard. Radio Drago for £5 sterling. This is proper money. That's a lot of tokens, guys. Not Tolkien's, but tokens. So I wouldn't think we are.
Well, it is pounds. It does count.
That's right. I wouldn't think we aren't in the minority, to be honest. I think the recent flops and successes reflect this. I think more and more people are paying closer attention because they've been burned by bad games. And to me, it's not even the political stuff that started to burn people out on video games,
that's
Spencer.
What I was about to make. Yeah, that's exactly what I was about to say, is that we aren't in the minority, but again, it's the minority of people who care about the culture war stuff. Yeah, the politics of it. All the recent failures, even if you stripped away all of the DEI stuff, they were just really terrible, terrible games. Suicide Squad or Task Force X, sorry, YouTube, that was just a bad experience from the ground up. You could have made every character Batman and adapted The Dark Knight Returns, and it still would have been a terrible video game experience.
Oh, indeed. I think that's the big problem. I mean, Assassin's Creed Outlaws and all these other things that are coming up. Assassin's Creed Outlaws. Did you just hear what I did? Two terrible Ubisoft things together. Man, that was a...
Well, garbage all goes in the same bin.
That's right. Garbage in, garbage out. Thank you, Radio Drago, for that amazing support. We got even more amazing support from the man who basically sponsors this show, Makity Draws, for $10 more in Tolkien's. Man, we almost got our soda covered now. We're doing good. Honest answer. In what way does the Veilguard constitute Game of the Year material? Because nothing from what I'm seeing is Game of the Year worthy, especially with the biased feeling character creator. Sorry.
Dang, who's saying that?
Yeah,
that's Makity.
Well, no, I have heard.
No, not Makity.
Journalists have been saying it. And
there was that one we looked at, Marvin, where it was like, this will be its Mass Effect 2 moment or whatever. And I remember you were just like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, Mass Effect 2 moment, Game of the Year worthy. And look, maybe it is going to be Game of the Year worthy at the Game Awards, where they literally have an award for wokest game of the year. Because they do. The Game Awards has a actual award that they give out for
and it's serious, right?
The game that's done the most for like inclusion and diversity. So it's definitely going to win that. So we'll see. Probably not Game of the Year though. It's absolutely.
What constitutes Game of the Year? Because
it'd be overall Game of the Year. Like last year, I think. What was it last year, Spencer? It was I don't even remember. It was
that's the
Elden
thing.
Ring.
It's like
Elden Ring. It was Elden Ring the
Hopefully
year
it was
that God of War
Elden Ring.
Ragnarok came out, because I was really pulling for God of War Ragnarok, and Elden Ring won.
Right,
But then
because
the guy that played Kratos, Christopher Judge, won Best Performance.
Longest.
I love that guy, by the way.
And then he did the longest speech ever done. But we should live stream the Game Awards this year just because it's so ridiculous. I can't stand the guy that runs it.
Well, I know this. Veilguard is going to be another flop, and it's going to be this time on BioWare. I can't wait to watch Marvin play it and cry and review it and cry more. So
John's right. Baldur's Gate 3 was Game of the Year last year.
Yeah, so don't sales have something to do with that award? I always thought you had to like have also sales
think-
behind
I
the
think it's
Game
It's not
of
like
the
the
Year.
fans vote on it. It's like I think it's an industry award.
It is, yeah. It's a
Mhm.
popularity contest in the industry. Who broke the most ground? Well, I mean, if you're going to virtue signal the hardest, maybe that's the new metric for it. But let's move on.
But there is an award for that. There is literally the social award or something like that, and that one gets
Socialist
like
award.
that one gets a full presentation with an acceptance speech where like sports game of the year and fighting game of the year get like an ancillary mention. Like
So how funny would it be if Concord won that? I mean, why not?
that would
If it's
be
based
funny.
on that, right?
Why are you wishing harm upon us all? I don't understand.
I'm a
the
masochist
motivation
sometimes.
I'm just saying. All right, well let's get this one from Machini again for another $10 in quarters. Okay, guys, not only do we have sodas, we're gonna have a sleepover in the arcade tonight. We're doing good.
Whoa.
We're gonna
Careful what we say here.
We're gonna rent it out. We're gonna rent it out and play all night. Anyway, the Veilguard will be a media darling in the run up to the Game Awards. That's how much these outlets will shill this title. Mark my words. I believe you, Machini. Anybody want to argue with them? I think
No,
it's kind of a fait accompli to say
No,
it in a
that-
fancy
that-
French way.
that D Canoe who runs the Game Awards is going to stand up there smugly and praise it. I guarantee it. I can't stand that guy. I hate him so much. he single handedly killed E3.
I believe that.
Oh,
I believe that. Speaking of believing things, we got the Wild Man of Yavin. Good to see you, my friend, and thank you for the amazing support you gave Pro the other day. That was extraordinary. For $5 more in tokens. Just catching up. But could the delay of Assassin's Creed be due to February being Black History Month? Okay. We did talk about this just a moment ago. Thank you for your support. I will say that was brought up. It could be. It does give them a shield to stand behind in addition to all the other brave and stunning things that this game may have in it or likely will. But releasing it on Valentine's Day, the 14th, speaks larger to me of trying to get as many things, packed on. But their actual stated reasoning for delaying the game, and correct me if I'm wrong, anybody on this panel, but it was because of their learnings from Star Wars Outlaws. Is that not their stated reason?
I would assume so.
Okay.
Sounds like a cover, if we're going to be honest, though, but
Oh,
perhaps.
well. Deep cover. I think we lost Spencer. All right. At least he's busy. We got Machini for another $5. Holy cow. We are going to be in the arcade forever and ever. Spencer, it was the Escapist and Game Rant making those articles saying that DA is GOTY.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I don't pay attention to the games press because I just didn't see that stuff. And I just don't pay attention to the games press. And this is a sort of a side thing. I don't know why in recent months we all decided to start taking them seriously again. Like, this is a serious question I have. Why are we starting to see so many people go, oh, you didn't give my favorite game the right score. You didn't like it the way I liked it. Why do we care? This is IGN. This is GameSpot. These are places we all actively recognize are industry, like I don't know, not plants, but like they're in bed with the industry. So why is it all of a sudden that we care about their opinions? That's just a sort of a side question.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm asking you guys. I genuinely, I want an answer. Like, I don't know.
Well, I mean, we all pay attention to the Oscars, in Hollywood, even though that's a lot of people do.
That's my question too. I don't know anybody who really pays attention to that stuff. We all know they're happening, and there's always
drama and outcry whenever the Oscar nominees are announced every single year, and the Game Awards are kind of the Oscars of the gaming industry.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like we've all, especially in our sphere, we've all known like the Oscars aren't anything but a trade award. Like, you buy your way into that. The things
of course.
Like, nothing here. None of these awards matter. Whatever game wins Game of the Year at the game show, like, that's not. There's no metric there. There's no transparency. It's just, so to me, it's getting worked up over, IGN didn't give Black Myth Wukong. They didn't mention it in a tweet about a poll. Okay, Like, who cares? It's IGN. We know
No,
they
the
suck.
point. I think the point is we point out yellow journalism when we see it, and when IGN does stuff like that, or when the Game Awards snub Hogwarts Legacy, you point it out because that is the mainstream. That is the thing that like casuals will look at because it's the first thing you can find on Google. And when you see them purposely trying to hide certain games or attack certain games or do things to move things in a specific agenda, that is news because it's biased journalism.
Right. Yeah, I'm telling you right now, things like these awards have never really floated my boat. I mean, it is all of them can be purchased in one manner or another. Ever since Weinstein became involved in the film side of things, we could see you can just buy your way into the most prestigious awards. That's all it is.
Well, yeah, I mean, AEW Fight Forever won the it wasn't the Game Award, it was the other one that gives out awards. I think it was Tokyo Game Show or something. I don't remember which one it was, or Games Fest.
Yeah.
It won it's sports game of the year for I think like for the year that the thing was, and the game had not come out yet and would not come out for another 8 months into the next year.
That's wild. So definitely a buy off.
Which means they paid it.
Get Lost Games in the house with a $5 super sticker. And I don't even know what to call this. It's a laughing sticker.
I don't mean to interrupt, but Spencer, you'll know what I'm talking about. Maybe Marvin even. Remember when they did the DC Marvel crossover and apparently you could vote for it and it was rigged at the end of the day? That's exactly
and they had the one like the 1-900 number where you could vote on whether Robin lives or dies and death of the family.
Yeah, and they killed them off like nobody.
They were going to kill them off anyway. But I want to say thank you to Get Lost Games for the $5 super sticker and all the tokens that we can use for the evening. We got 2 more super chats right now. Jacob Foxfire for $5 more worth of tokens. I just realized theaters might become the smallest of mini malls, just a place to hang out, eat, and have fun in. Yeah, I think
there's nothing wrong with that either. I think that's nowadays that's good to know. At least people are getting out, not stuck on their phones or sitting on their couches. So it's something to do.
Yeah, and
I think I think it's a good idea, but I think the bigger problem, like I know this is such a bigger topic for what the stream is, but I think it's an economic thing. It's not until these places are super cheap to go to and hang out and do stuff at that these places are going to take off again, right? Because like for example, I have a place that opened up really close to me recently a couple months ago that is a movie theater with bowling and video games and all that stuff, and it's a great place, but not a lot of people go because it's still expensive. I'm still like, it's still okay, great, it's all there, but I still got to get the money to afford food while I'm there, to go see a movie, to play the games, and that adds up way faster to the point where I'm looking at $60 easy for an afternoon out if I want to be comfortable and have fun. That's a lot, especially where we are right now. So hopefully pickleball takes off. I don't know.
Hey, I'm telling you right now, as somebody who plays pickleball, it's taken off. There's new people all the time. And old
so
people,
weird to hear.
Old people getting joints replaced so they can keep playing. So just so you know. Pinochet's helicopter tours for $2 says Game Awards not voted by consumers equals illegitimate. Pinochet, you were 100% correct.
100%
legitimate.
Agreed.
All right, we got a new leaderboard that I had to put together real quick because, just you guys are very, very generous today. We still have Machini leading the league. We got Silver Supporter Jacob Foxfires and TGV Monster in third. That's what we've got, and obviously Platinum being the entire month of September. It's still Machini Draws, today's sponsor as well. We're going to get rid of that. We're going to move on. We got more stories to cover, and I am guilty of letting it drag. But we're going to jump into this really cool story that was actually put together over on Bounding into Comics by a person that's on this panel, talking about a game that I absolutely love. It is Final Fantasy and Kingdom Hearts. Development studios Square Enix appears to have ended working relationship with Sweet Baby Inc. Amazing stuff. Amazing.
We can only hope.
Yeah, and I have to tell you, if this is the case, which it sounds like, we have multiple wonderful sites reporting this. That's a good thing. right?
By the
And
way, Spencer, excellent choice in using Scarlet as your
Right?
hero image here.
I was
the
hoping
most-
I knew the people would know.
that's
You're
right.
using the most non-Sweet Baby Ink
Imagery.
photos.
That's what
out
I
there.
was going
Man, I
for.
love
You
it.
got me, Marvin. You got me.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot, man. Stories today are off the chart. I mean, this Wednesday is the best game news day, I think. I think everybody serves it up as the best. The Ubisoft stories just never stop. But let's focus here.
I feel
on
like
this.
these last 2 weeks have just sort of been like almost every like Wednesdays and Fridays have been the days when like big video game news drops lately.
Yes.
And I don't know what it is, because like normally, I know you guys know this since all of us here have like channels or appear on channels where we cover the news.
Yeah.
Fridays get kind of quiet, right? Like I know
Usually.
even for you, Culture, your 6-minute updates, you're mostly like hey, what are you guys doing for the weekend? Like what's going on? Because stuff doesn't go down.
No.
And then like this last Friday, we got the awful release of the PSN God of War Ragnarok. We got the Concord revelation happened last Friday, the $400 million price tag. So we're eating good out here. Kind of.
Yeah, I think we are, and I think there's reason for it. But this story is important because there were 2 game studios that actually removed themselves from the client list for Sweet Baby Inc. I think everybody sees the writing on the wall. Yeah. But I think one is rather lesser known, and because I can't remember it off the top of my head. but Square Enix is no longer listed as an active client, and that's a big one, right? Square Enix has had some financial issues of late, let's say, and according to this and our outline here from our friend Spencer, per an archive of the project section of Sweet Baby Inc.'s official website, at least as recently as August 2024. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth developer was listed alongside such fellow studios as Electronic Arts, Ubisoft, Warner Brothers, and those games. That's not really stellar, let's say. But Square Enix is just no longer there to be found. And as we move on, you can see this. Users across social media learned earlier in the day, that was yesterday, if I'm not mistaken,
Yes.
that this
morning.
was the case. Now, you can also see that there is other missing names here, at least one other that disappeared from here.
I went looking. Who is it? I'm clearly glossing over them. I just tried to compare it. Who's gone?
Man, I cannot remember the name. I talk about it a little bit in one of the videos I recently did, but in interest, in earnest, I'll say this: in the interest of caution, this is from your article.
Oh, yeah.
I should be noted there does exist a distinct possibility that Square Enix's disappearance from Sweet Baby Inc. website is in some way accidental or temporary, and the possible results of a website error or file path misalignment. But should their logo remain absent in the months to come, it would indicate that the supposedly hard at work on Kingdom Hearts Studio has chosen to, if not abandon, but their adherence to the performative concept of the capital letter diversity and inclusion altogether. At the very least, stop giving their money to an entity whose employees regularly deride their core audience and overall positive development either way. And that was a very long sentence, but
I know. Trust me, when I was writing it, it was even worse.
I will say that I think this is probably true. I think they've
I do
been
too.
tipping away from modern audience stuff. And again, the more of you guys out there that I trust that are writing this stuff and the research that you're doing, the more I'm starting to believe that some of these studios are like, there is nothing but downside to this, and it's wrecking our games. So
I mean,
gentlemen,
the funny part I want to know, and it's in this article, is that this update comes just a few months after Square Enix sort of sidestepped a question about their relationship with Sweet Baby during one of their investor call. Yeah, their most recent investor call, an investor was like, "Hey, I'm sort of concerned about your relationship with Sweet Baby. Can you tell me about him?" And Square Enix president basically was like, "We don't want to talk. We're not going to comment on that right now. Don't just know that we're working to make the best games possible we can." Very PR marketing dodge statement, but I now think that was sort of a, we don't want to publicly say we dropped their butts, but we're dropping their butts.
You know, when I was reading this, I said one thing, and then like 2 paragraphs later, Spencer, you end up saying the same exact thing, where you're like, it's not clear which titles they worked on. I went, oh, well, they definitely worked on Forspoken. And then 2 paragraphs later, you were like, yeah, it was probably Forspoken.
It's like, we don't know what they worked on, but if there's anything that's close to a sure bet, it's probably Forspoken.
And look, I mean, writing that way kind of covers your bases, which I appreciate.
Oh yeah, that's definitely what it is. If I'm giving my own personal read, I think this is them moving away. I think they realized Forspoken was a disaster. Everything else they've been doing lately has been an ill-received disaster, from Final Fantasy 16 to everything that's going on with the.
I liked Final Fantasy 16.
Yeah, a lot of people did. People were divided on it. It's just like, I'm sort of in the middle of it. I don't really have it's good or it's bad. I'm just sort of stating the fact that like it was not as well received, and a lot of people were going, "Oh, it's way more Game of Thronesy. You're going for that deep, grounded, realistic storytelling instead of the Final Fantasy of it all." Right. Okay. So that's all I was going off of.
Well, no, and you're right, and we've got more super chats to get to on the subject, but I wanted to bring in this story too. Man, we're mixing different outlets up together and everything else.
That's what we got to do. Look at different
today.
sources and draw your own opinions, y'all.
Yeah. Because we've got this, which dropped yesterday, or even was it today? No, it was yesterday, that I wanted to do a video on, but everybody was so busy yesterday. This is amazing to me.
We were learning about the Acolyte.
Well, but Sweet Baby Inc. employee admits the goal is burning the games industry to the ground.
Unbelievable.
Maybe this is why they want to get out of.
Is it controversial to say that I'm on her side, but for different reasons?
I don't know.
Burn the rot to the ground would be nice.
But this person is, identifies as non-binary, named Cameron Wild, and claims to be a non-binary, as I mentioned. Admitted that the goal is burning the games industry to the ground, and you can see their name there in the credits. But how to get away with murder, subverting genre expectations was, I guess, a presentation at the GDC. The game developers convention, or
like 2 years ago or so.
Yeah, and they worked on, according to Moby Games, Tales of Kinzara Zhao, a flop. The Squad, Kill the Justice League, not great. Alan Wake 2, really not spectacular.
What part of that title can we even say?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm very careful when I say it. The Crew Motorfest, Kingdom Entities, and God of War Ragnarok, which was the lowest one of any of them so far. Then declared that the stories we tell each other are way more than entertainment. They are how we create debate and preserve our collective values and beliefs. Well, nobody's in your collective there, Chief, or very few are anyway. And we can and should make better, more expansive, more representational content. There it is, folks. And here's the slide that dropped. Cool. So why am I here was one of the things, the bullet points. And one of those bullet points in that slide is burning the industry to the ground. It's right there.
Isn't it ironic you say a safer world, then you want to burn part of that world to the ground? That's an interesting way to look at things.
Safety is not guaranteed when you're around somebody like this, especially when it's in games, because they're there not to make better games. They aren't. They're there to make games that appeal to a very tiny fraction of humanity. You cannot imagine that you are creating a broader appeal when you have such myopically viewed people that you hire. I think that's a real problem. And working at these game consultancies are a real issue as well. I think, Spencer, you and others have told a story about the fact that people aren't being hired because they used to work for these consultancies. So
I have not covered that story because it, unfortunately, that narrative that is going around is sort of a misread of the actual video. So, yeah.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Yeah, but a lot of us who are really fighting for more inclusive games and storytelling don't have a choice when it comes to discomfort. A lot of us who are just existing don't have a choice. I don't know what that means, which makes it really hard often. But recently I started realizing that discomfort, or the place where whiteness, this is racism, by the way, doesn't have to live, is where some of the best stories are told. And it's where genre storytelling lives. In racism? I don't know about that.
They don't see it that way, though.
Understood, but this person claims that their favorite film is Blazing Saddles. Then you really misunderstand Blazing Saddles, I would say. Regardless, look, this person is all about, getting rid of us, the people who pay for games. And I'm very much sick of that. Anybody want to react to that idea as we keep moving forward through Ubisoft is, destroying itself and Sweet Baby Inc. is helping?
I want to, can I step back and just say, like, how did this come about to begin with, Sweet Baby Inc. in general? How did all of these studios get convinced it was a good idea to have this type of consultancy agency? Because I've never heard of this in the past. Perhaps I'm wrong. You guys know gaming well too.
Campbell told people that they had to go in to speak to their marketing department and say you have to terrify them and threaten them into getting what you want.
So is this because of what's been going on since 2018, or
I can give a history lesson into what we're looking at here. Okay. So for as long as sort of Hollywood entertainment media has existed, there have always been something known as sensitivity readers. And that is a job where if you write a book or a comic or whatever, you can choose to, if you'd like, reach out to one of these individuals, one of these services, and they'll look over your book and say, this is okay. This character's name, you might want to be careful. It can be misconstrued as, something bad in Japan, or, oh, hey, this character design, you might want to be careful. Readers in Japan aren't going to like that. Or you go, oh, you didn't know this, but this name that you gave your character, it's actually a slur in a different language. So that role has always sort of existed. Now, in recent years, with the advent of DEI and all that sort of stuff, that role has sort of shifted from here's the advice, here's things you might want to change, here's things you should be aware of, to you, like the cultural zeitgeist is now, you need to change and abide by these rules or you're going to get destroyed. You're going to be labeled as a bad person. That's sort of what Marvin was hinting at here. The reason it's all become so entrenched, especially in recent years, is because they've been able to use that threat of, if you don't do what we do, we'll be able to, rake you over the coals on social media. You'll never recover. 4 million people will make tweets and articles about you. So that's
therefore it's a grift, right?
Oh,
it's not real. It's a grift, and it's the mafia coming in saying
a thousand.
It'd be a shame if your studio burned to the ground.
That's situation, exactly right? What it's protection money. Essentially, that Campbell video that Marvin's talking about is essentially her advocating to go shake down everybody who doesn't agree with your ideology. So
it baffles me that any of these other studios would still, after that video, like you and Marvin mentioned, would give them the time of day. They should want to put, a planet's worth of distance between their company and Sweet Baby Inc. now, because they're poison.
We've seen Anita Sarkeesian, in public, in Twitter, say to gaming studios, you really should hire me as a consultant because it'd be a real shame if your studio was labeled sexist.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and now, but nobody really knew this was going on on a big level until The Squad Killed the Justice League came out, and everybody was like, who is to blame for this? And they have a whole section in the credits of that game. Like, normally Sweet Baby Inc. just gets a little mention in the credits of games they work on. For the Squad game, they were featured prominently in those ending credits.
I'm just fascinated that this one company was able to infiltrate all of these
well,
major studios.
I think that's the thing to be careful of is, and I talk about this a lot, is that while Sweet Baby Inc. is definitely a company who does that's the thing, is that they're only a company. They're the most public, visual, well-known one because of their work on such big games as Spider-Man and Justice League. But there are scores of these companies out there. Nerdigan's over on Bounding Into Comics. She's covered it before. There's like, and they're all named like Baby. They're all named after like weird kid stuff. I don't know. It's all
we need to identify. Yes, we need to identify them and point them out to anybody we possibly can. In fact, we might even do a special here that talks about all of these consultancy companies and what they do and how they damage the things that we love. But we've got to move on, guys, because we've got so many stories and not a lot of time to get to them. I want to bounce back real quickly to how studios seem to be fighting back and fighting the narrative that they're tied to this ideology. And we go back to stories from Bounding by Jorge Arenas saying the direct opposition to industry standards Final Fantasy character designer Tetsuya Nomura, I think I did that right. Yeah. Says video game characters should be attractive. Yeah.
Shocking.
Yeah. I think we can all agree.
Unless it's a horror game, then we get it. But otherwise,
you don't make the bad guy attractive, but you make everybody else in it that's about to get killed attractive. I mean,
you're literally talking about the guy who designed Sephiroth. Like
anyone played that game called Sin way back when, and the main baddie was. Whoop.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. But
anyway, as we get to this, it says, honest question, who hasn't noticed the recent video game industry trend of devs making their characters, especially the female ones, outright unattractive hybrids of masculine and feminine features? Yes. Cave S, Star Wars Outlaws, Miss Freeze on the Squad, Kill the Justice League, and the entire cast of Concord. Yes. Observationally, 100% spot on objectively. While it seems that many developers, particularly those in the West, are gung-ho on pushing this aesthetic, famed Final Fantasy series character designer Tetsuya
Nomura.
I had it the first time. Stands opposed to this uglification, I guess, design philosophy. Yes. So, look, we don't have to go any farther into this article. You can if you want to. It's over on Bounding, and Jorge's a great writer. I will say this. If Square Enix is going to stick with this, and they're going to fight back with aesthetics, I think we have to take them at their word that maybe they're not so interested in, who they work with anymore when it comes to Sweet Baby. I just wanted to stack that onto the conversation.
And I think, and I wanted to throw this out there because I feel like I saw, maybe it might have even been like Marvin or our friend Kevin Apollo. Somebody was on my feeds was talking about this, but for all the, like, let's not kid ourselves. Square Enix has made some very dumb DEI related decisions in recent history. There's Forspoken, there's all the censorship of Tifa and Dragon Quest 3. We all know that exists. But put that aside for a second, and objectively, like the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth characters, they're the most attractive female characters we've seen out of a video game in a good long while. And they easily could have gotten that modern audience treatment, and they didn't. So this definitely feels like there's a battle over at Square Enix between what they really want to do, which is stay Japanese and keep their Japanese design sensibilities, and this shakedown fear of, oh no, what will the West do if they get a hold of this and they see it's not what they like?
Well, I will say this, and as we move on to the super chats, Square Enix may be learning something. Ubisoft is not. We've got an upcoming story to talk about what that has cost them in just a moment. But let's get to more super chats from our friend like Pinochet. Helicopter Tours says nature and the live stream are healing itself by SBI. Nice. I think possibly. What do you guys think? You think that's happening?
I hope so.
I mean,
me too.
Look, I think Sweet Baby Inc. is on its last legs at this point. I think people have come to terms on the grift that Campbell is running
all of them.
On the gaming industry.
All of them.
Yeah. But SBI, like, SBI is the one that I think everybody just has no patience for. Yeah.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you.
It's a strange world we live in, though. Like Kotaku still exists, right? And I know it's not the exact same thing, but it exists, and it's odd that it does. So
you realize what that's cost them, though. The group that owns them has had to sell off other pieces.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like when your message makes more of an effect than money, right? At the end of the day, when you're willing to lose billions of dollars for a message, and nobody's jumping on board.
I'm still okay. As of I guess 4 days from now will be 5 months from my predicted end for Kotaku. So we'll see. Moving on.
Possible.
And yeah, I think so. Moving on real quick.
Culture. I'm gonna. Here's the only reason I fear that we won't get that, and this is something I've laughed about and I've laughed to you about since forever. Like the first time we ever talked, when I was a bounding newbie and you got on a stream, you predicted in 5 years this woke curve will be over, and we're still here.
No, I'm with you. The problem is what we're seeing now.
We were so optimistic. We were such children. I believed you.
I'm just saying it this way, my friend.
No, I know.
We're subjected now. Yeah, we're subjected now. Oh no, it's fine. We're subjected now to things that were created 3 to 5 years ago. We're still living 3 to 5 years in the past. But when it comes to games urinalism, which we don't participate in here, we are participating in news gathering and distributing information here on this channel. I'm going to tell you, the games journalism is losing. And no matter how many outlets you have that are supporting the same narrative with the same story, with the same talking points, with the same little information stream that they all share, it is being torn apart by the actual real world effects, which again, we have a story to talk about and more Ubisoft, by the way. But let me catch up with Jay here, who dropped a couple of super chats here for $10 worth of tokens. Thank you, man. Guys, we might even be able to afford a hotel room to take a shower. Concerned Ape announced on X that the 1.6 patch for Stardew Valley will be launching on September 4th, consoles and mobile. Wow. That'll keep a lot of people busy for a while. My goodness.
My youngest daughter loves this game.
What now?
Yeah, we all talked over each other. What'd you say, Dave?
Oh, sorry. I just said my youngest daughter loves Stardew Valley. She's hooked on that game. So
Dude, people are obsessed with that. That's why I was asking if Mrs. Monster plays it, Marvin. This seems like it's a game that's right up her alley.
No, not that one. Not that particular one. Yeah. Weirdly enough.
Okay, well, I know Mrs. Monster likes games similar to that. But Base Player 2011 Iffy for $5 worth of tokens. Thank you for that. Says the games industry is already on fire. Yes, burning a lot. Burning muchly. AAA studios are bloated. They have been for a while. The worst thing that ever happened to them was the hiring that they went in full mode on when the global crisis happened. I think 2020 was the worst for them. And overstuffed and overspending. Yes, they are still doing that. DEI is just an accelerant. Yes, it is. Yeah, it's like pouring kerosene on already burning piles of money.
I would like to know how big the studio was when they made GTA 5. And then
not very big.
Yeah, however big that was, you should never go past that, because that was quality, right? And when you look back, like GoldenEye was 7 people, I believe, 7 or 8 people. Like what have we come to at this point? Well,
and again, Bethesda is the perfect example of growing between games. Bethesda really did grow between Elder Scrolls. What was it? 5? Yeah,
6.
Was it 6? It was the
5
one.
is Skyrim. 5 Skyrim.
Okay, so 4. So Elder Scrolls 4. Scrolls,
Oblivion.
That game. Yeah, Oblivion. That was not a big studio at that point. But between that point and Skyrim, it escalated. And now between that and 6, it is extraordinarily large. For no reason. The games they're producing are hot garbage. And, they still have all the same problems that they did when they have fewer people. If
So
you
does that
have-
just tell me that the game engines have become over complex and broken? Because what's the difference?
No,
Some of the
it-
worlds
it-
made
it-
20 years ago are bigger than ones made now, and stories were more complex.
Well, yeah, and had fewer bugs, but the reason for that was because the developers cared about what they were doing. They had merit and knew what they were doing, and the writers delivered compelling stories. And even in the lore books that you picked up throughout the game, right? When you were going through when you're going through Oblivion, which I still think was amazing despite all the bugs, you picked up a book and it was fascinating. Right, you could read through all the books. That was as fun to me as even playing the game at times. I was like, wow, this is a great story. I would go collect the books, read all the books. I would store the books in bookshelves that I would build. I did that with Skyrim too. I'm kooky madookie when it comes to that kind of stuff. As much as we've got completionists on this panel, I'm the lore person. I want to know more about this, right? So much so that I go back and play these games over and over again. Especially when they come out in VR, because I want to.
Man, I miss instruction manuals. That's what
Yeah.
you're reminding me
Me
of
too.
right now.
Yeah.
Where that's where everything was. All your character info, all the story in the manual. Read it, get in the game. Link doesn't say a word. You just know he's going to go save Zelda because you read the manual.
You read the book and you knew what the controls
Or
were.
the strategy guide.
The
Or the
man.
strategy
guides,
guide.
yeah.
I have a freaking section dedicated in this giant 14-foot by 14-foot bookcase over to my left. That
brag
the
some
entire
more.
section of that is dedicated to game manuals, game guides, and all of that.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, I'm weird though. I mean, I don't think I even unwrapped one of them. What was it?
I'm so old that if you buy a SNES or a NES cartridge and you don't have the manual, you kind of don't know how to play that game, actually. So you're
Yeah.
like, how do you even do anything?
You got to
in
go
here? 'Cause
look it up online.
iPhone. Yep. Look it up on
Yeah.
Google.
All right, real quick. Base player 2011 Iffy for $5 worth of tokens says, that's the one I read. So thank you for that. Moving on, we've got an enormous gift from Jay. Look at all those tokens, $20.
Yay!
Jay,
you rock.
depressed youth who haven't passed the fact that the world isn't fair. That's true. That's where we're at. You're 100% right. Most people get through that during their teen years and grow up. Well, yeah, but most people are being grown up. They're not being handled and coddled and handed everything. And this is what's been happening, right? I know people are going to be mad at me and say, you're wrong, old man. But the minute we started giving participation trophies, we were doomed for the future of youth because
I'm right there with you.
they no longer
not
were
just youth,
compelled to
just
great.
I am of the generation that got the participation trophies. I remember being handed a trophy and being like, what is this for? We didn't win.
Yeah, me too, Marvin. And I was like,
But
I
you
don't
tried.
want this.
Yeah, I didn't want it. It was hot. It threw it right out. Like it was.
It
just
is
like,
insulting
nothing.
when you really think about it. So
Well,
it's
it's
a
disgusting.
reminder that you didn't win, correct? It's a reminder that
Yeah.
you're second best.
Well,
it's a
the kids
reminder
know the
that,
score.
Yeah.
The kids know the score of the game. Well, we don't keep score. Then you're a flipping idiot because these kids are striving to compete and
Then
do
it's not a
something.
game. It's just a workout.
Yeah.
A
Yep.
weird guided workout.
Yeah. Come on now. Come on. Anyway,
Not
getting
to
back
brag,
to the
not to brag, but when I was in 3rd or 4th grade, I did win the Pinewood Derby at the Boy Scouts. So
You rock.
Oh, I'm sorry. I
Saying-
didn't know we had. I didn't know we had a Wheaties athlete here. I'm sorry.
yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
wow. All right. Well, anyway, Wheaties box cover guy. Back to it. They are being collected and given targets. I monitored many at my hospital. Yeah. And this is the weirdest thing. It's like, why are we catering to people who have no desire to succeed in life? I'm getting very tired of that. As a matter of fact, I'm watching now the trend towards videos being made talking about companies not hiring people in a given generation unless they've shown some kind of performance somewhere. That's not bad. You're trying not to hire the meritless that have no desire to do anything more and think they deserve a paycheck just for showing up.
I slightly disagree with that because it is a really bad job economy right now, and a lot of people just aren't getting jobs, and it's really hard out there. So it's a complicated situation.
You're
would
not
be me.
paying, you're not paying attention to the jobless numbers versus the people that are unemployed. Come on, we have a great economy there, Spencer. What do you say?
the best numbers of all time.
There we go. Hey, Kamachi for $2 says only believe if they backtrack DQ3 censorship. Well, Yeah, I think we'll have to take a look at Square Enix again and reevaluate. I think that's I think that's what we do. We take a look and see what they do and see if they backtrack. But I don't think a lot of these studios are going to go back for a third or fourth time to mess around with that. I do think we got some attractive characters with Stellar Blade, but they took a lot of flack for that. Pinochet's Helicopter Tours for $2 says, no accident SBI consultant companies aren't in USA. No, they're Canadian socialists.
Yeah, they hide in my country. I don't really want
hide. They're not hiding. They're out.
That's
in plain
true.
sight.
They're right in the open. That's true.
Yeah.
They're supported by the government, most likely.
Yeah, exactly. All that money from the government to ruin everything. But thank you for that. Pinochet for another $2. Oh, wait, I got that. Here we go. Radial Drago for another £5 sterlings. Look at that. Says, would you say that the next 4 years we will see change in the quality of games as it seems the tides are shifting? That's a great question. It kind of got short shrift in the conversation that we foisted upon ourselves, but let me start with Marvin. Marvin, do you think we're going to see change in the next 4 years in the game quality?
Well, that would depend on whether or not people started thinking about this a year ago. Because concept to creation being what it is, the average time it takes to make a game is what, 5 years, maybe 4 years. So no, I don't really see much of a change coming, probably for another 5.
Oh boy. All right. Space Dave, are you more optimistic than the Movie Monster?
No, I'm in the same boat as him. I believe whatever in the pot or in the stove cooking there's not enough time for that change. It was probably a year and a half ago that they would have had to thought about. I 100% agree.
Spencer, you're the last person to be optimistic about this.
Yeah, so I'm gonna actually take the middle ground as I typically do. I'm with Dave and Marvin to a certain extent, where we still got to get everything that's in the works out, right? You got to first in, first out. Got to clean out all the works. If there
similar to vomiting, by the way.
Exactly, that's exactly perfect. So whatever they've got cooking, they've got to get it out there, and so we might be in for a little bit of pain over the next 2-3 years, whatever. We do know that Dragon Quest 3 remake is still happening with all the censorship, so that stuff's all got to get out there. I am optimistic that this is a change. Like I said, I'm hoping that this is them realizing that they don't need to cater to the terminally online, super vocal Western crowd to make their game successful, and they can just be the Japanese developers they want to be. But the bottom line is this change, this moving away from SBI, it doesn't necessarily mean lower your guard. Right? Keep on these companies, keep looking at what they do, keep observing them, keep shining a light, because there's nothing we want. There would be nothing more detrimental right now than for us to take this. We just won this battle, we're gaining ground, and then we would just give it right away for pure optimism. And I'm normally one of those pure optimists. So trust but verify.
Wow, the Ronald Reagan philosophy. Well done. Well done there.
Bring it all full circle. Bring it home.
There you go. Well, Clive Griffiths for another £2 sterling says, I miss those books and gaming magazines. Me too.
Don't we all?
We lost Game Informer this year, guys.
I was actually kind of genuinely sad we lost Game Informer. We all know the internet exists, but I don't know. It was sort of like just having an old buddy drop by. Oh, hey, Game Informer. Yeah, I'll talk to you about video game news I knew for the last 2 months. But why not? Sure, buddy. It's nice to see you.
That's right. And like I said, I really appreciated that magazine. I got it every month. I've got I swear, cardboard boxes full of those things.
It got me through my entire high school toilet career.
Well, there you go. And speaking of amazing people, the Mum for $2 more worth of tokens, making sure we get to play NBA Jam for at least an hour. Late but here. CC, favorite cat avatar here. I love it. Look at that. Showering money. Look at that. Yeah, I love that cat avatar. I love it. Love it. So cute. So precious. Plus the collar. Meow. My goodness. Yeah, man. Yeah, little meow. I imagine that's a cute little meow sound. Oh, my goodness, folks. I'm going to say
Cats are pointless.
Stop it. Stop it. What are you Alf? Are you
Just
Alf
before he's got to
Noise?
go, he's gonna
No,
feel
Alf-
the controversy.
Alf likes cats. I don't. I'm a dog
No,
person.
he
What can I say?
likes to eat
He
cats.
likes to eat 'em,
It's
man.
different. All right.
Yeah.
Well, we unfortunately have to part ways.
Cats
with
have
the
a
mov-
point.
Unfortunately, have to
Ralph.
part ways with this guy because he's got to go do his own show. But we're not done. We got one more story I insist we get through. So, Marvin, what you got going on?
Oh gosh, yeah, I have Toonie Talk TV coming tomorrow night. We've got a ton of content coming on the Toonitown TV channel, Toonitown Wrestling as well. So much going on every single day, daily content. We got Patreon over at Toonitown Wrestling. We got channel memberships over at Toonitown TV. Come join us tomorrow night. With the for Toonie Talk TV, we're going to be talking about the Acolyte. We're going to be talking about Agatha, and we've got I'll be on the Agatha after party tonight on Pros channel, 8 p.m. EST. And that's it.
Excellent. Thanks, Marvin, for being
Thank
here.
you.
We appreciate you. We love your little monsterness. Go out and be grumpy.
I will
You
do.
cat hater, but we still love you.
All right. Everybody says bye to the
Yeah.
monster. All right. One last story, gentlemen. One last story. You think you can handle it?
Best for last.
Of
Let's
course.
trudge through this thing. Yeah.
Treasury. Get thee to a treasury. That was supposed to be funny. Nobody laughed.
Spencer did a pity laugh for you.
I know. Thank you.
No, it was
Thank-
really laughing. I just had to find the unmute button on my microphone so you could hear me.
The debut, the make culture feel better button. All right, let's get to this story. Man, we had so many. We're not even done. We could do 6 more stories, and 4 of them would be Ubisoft. But we are doing this one. Yeah, I'm not kidding. Today was a terrible.
No,
day for
I
Ubisoft.
know you're not. It's great.
Look, Ubisoft admits Star Wars Outlaw sales. Look, we reported this stuff. All of us did. Spencer did. We did. That Park Place did. All of these other wonderful side scrollers did. That the sales for Outlaws are softer than expected, and they slashed their net bookings, their expected net bookings 30%. 1/3. 1/3. This is
Nice
insane.
scoop.
How good did they think this game was going to do?
I don't
tells
know.
you.
They
They
huffing
thought it was
their-
going to do great. I
Overestimating.
guarantee you at the Ubisoft boardroom, they said they had a big whiteboard that said video game plus Star Wars, and then it said equals, and then there was a big old pile of cocaine, and they just smacked their face at it
Yeah,
and said, "Good
'cause-
job."
Have they talked to Hasbro lately about this same issue? I mean, come on.
And they talked to Disney with the Acolyte.
Yeah.
It was a weird thing, right? I think who else said this was like the underpants gnomes, right? From South Park. I think somebody was
That's
saying
an incredible comparison.
I mean,
it
and
wasn't
that's-
me, but yeah.
that. Yeah, I was like, somebody said that. I don't know who it was, but seriously, it's like and it just absolutely crazy. Hey, Scott Summers, thanks for being here. I get a slow clap from Joseph Frost Ghost. Thank you. But look, I mean, it's like the underpants. They're like, we're going to put out this game. We're going to virtue signal it up. We're going to give you everything, identitarian possible, and nobody's going to buy it. Yeah. Anyway, I'm not sure. Anyway, for the last couple of minutes, I just want to say the company explained the main reason for their net bookings being cut up to 30% is a reflection of decisions taken for Assassin's Creed Shadows and the softer than expected launch for Star Wars Outlaws. A reflection of decisions? Like, they know this game is not going to sell? Is that what that means? Or is it that
I think that's the delay. I think that's the delay.
game. Okay, we have to delay the game. Yeah, go ahead.
Because it's talking about he lowered their target revenue for the second quarter of FY 2024-2025. So this is just him saying we're not releasing a game in this quarter, so we got to drop what we're looking at.
30% though. So yeah, they did push it out to February. It is Black History Month, but it's being released on Valentine's Day. I don't know how many shields they're trying to use for this game all at once, but it's a lot.
What a bad decision. How are audiences going to choose between us on Valentine's Day? How will audiences choose between Assassin's Creed Shadows and Captain America: Brave New World? This is the entertainment Sophie's choice of our time.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't support both of them, then you don't support Black History
That's
Month.
true. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a real
Oh
problem.
my goodness.
They're both Black History Month releases.
What a
Disney,
conundrum. What will I do? Not
Disney,
play
now
either.
Disney, you're now competing with a virtue signaling video game. Well done. Anyway, Ubisoft reiterated the sales for Star Wars Outlaws were not good. We know that. We were telling people that. We were telling them that. The company's main goal is to fix this is to seemingly debug the game before Christmas. What game? Oh, Star Wars Outlaws. Okay. In response to player feedback, Ubisoft's development teams are currently fully mobilized to swiftly implement a series of updates to polish and improve the player experience in order to engage a large audience during the holiday season to position Star Wars Outlaws as a strong long-term performer. You guys remember the first overly monetized game that came out post-Disney acquisition of Star Wars?
Battlefront?
Yeah.
Battlefront 2, wasn't it, actually?
Battlefront 2, yes.
Do you remember how hot garbagey that was?
Yep. Yeah.
And the monetization scheme that everybody basically revolted against?
I think they were close to shutting that thing down, honestly, before its time.
Yeah. And again, they are so desperate that they are going straight, they are adding this game to Steam in November. So instead of releasing
That's
Assassin's Creed Assassin's Creed Shadows, they are going to Steam. What do you think is going to happen on Steam? They're going to sell this game. People are going to play it for 20 minutes and say, no, thank you. And as long as they only play it for 2 hours or less, they can return it. I don't know, guys.
I mean, yes. I don't know. You and Loki tend to put a lot of weight on the return function, as if everybody who downloads the game is looking to go, okay, impress me in these 2 hours or I'm gonna refund it. Most players don't really take advantage of that. Most people who buy this game are either gonna buy it and play it and go, that was crap, and it's just gonna sit there, or they're gonna go, oh, I liked that. I don't really have a good metric for video games. I just play what I like. I liked that game. So
and a lot of people look for half price, right? They're looking for
that's another big thing too. Yeah, once this game goes $20-$30, a lot of people are going to go, why not? I could do it. Let me see what it's about. And to say nothing of all the people who go $30, now I can content farm this.
Well, that's true, but look, if you watched anybody play this, Spencer?
Outlaws? Yeah, I watched
funny.
One of my favorite streamers play it all the way through, start to finish.
And what did you think?
It was a broken, terrible mess. It was the most generic Star Wars thing of all time, and it was just a very, very bad video game at its core. Functionally, just a bad game.
So, Yves Guillemot, the Guillemot brothers, the five of them that run this company, basically, and despite the fact that it's being public, their company owns the largest percentage of shares. He announced, in addition to all the other things we talked about already, that beyond the first important short-term actions undertaken, the executive committee, under the supervision of the board of directors, is launching a review aimed at further improving our execution, notably in this player-centric approach, and accelerating our strategic path towards a higher performing model to the benefit of our stakeholders and shareholders. See, the biggest problem there, kids, is stakeholders. Stakeholders is a collective mindset that basically is operating under, instead of the interest of the shareholders, under the idea of the greater good as they perceive under all these identitarian ideals. That's a problem, following the guidance of ESG and other things. Stakeholders should never be mentioned in a shareholder's context, in my opinion. But I could be wrong.
It's the new thing, though, in every company, is it not? I hear that all the time.
They're trying to do that, but at the same time, since all this McKinsey Group baloney sausage has been disproven widely multiple times now, and is unreplicable, and they won't even reveal the people that they utilized in the first place to arrive at their original faulty conclusions. More and more companies are moving away from the ESG DEI stuff, and BlackRock is in a big bad position, because if they are in a situation where the governance of this country changes to something that's more reality based, you're going to see them targeted, and the elimination of that situation, because they're basically violating financial rules already by following something other than the primary job they're supposed to, which is the fiduciary to their clients. So,
But how much reach would the U.S. government have to Ubisoft, because they are in France? So
well, again, they wouldn't have reach to them, but they would have reach to the people that are forcing this upon everybody, which includes the likes of BlackRock and such. Where do you think that money comes from? The access to cheap money. And the same thing goes with Hollywood, by the way. So,
well, and it's as you said, if the government changes is questionable, because as you said, there's a lot of stakes, and I'm not trying to be political here, but
no, indeed. Yeah, well, let's not dive into that. Let's dive into the fact that the Bloomberg had already downgraded the company's stock, citing that Star Wars Outlaws reviews and predicting the game would underperform really did drive down interest in shareholders in this company. That's not going to stop with this change of direction, or reported or supposed change in direction. I think you're going to see more and more issues arise when we do get to this next game. Ubisoft's Assassin's Creed, Shadows is going to be a spectacular failure.
I mean, they've set themselves up, and I said this earlier in the show, that they're really setting themselves up for acquisition, whether that be hostile or handshaken and done honestly. And if either Sony or Microsoft were smart, and I don't think Microsoft would get away with any more acquisitions, but if Sony were smart, or Nintendo, which they never do, but you never know.
Step in. Nintendo doesn't want them in their doorstep. They're like, get out of here. You're ruining my view.
Exactly. Well, but if any of them were smart, any three of them, they would acquire them and take the assets. Because at this time, Ubisoft is burnt toast, and someone's got to move quickly to salvage what's left of Ubisoft. And either they go private or they be acquired at this point.
Who's going to want to scrape that toast is the question.
Some smart person might want to do it. And if they...
Microsoft can't do it.
Microsoft won't be allowed because they've done too much acquiring lately. But
2K won't be allowed.
Sony could potentially do it.
Yeah, but they're imploding them own selves.
Oh yeah, but and then there's like Electronic Arts, Warner Brothers, but those are also two entities that are.
I keep EA out of my mouth because I really don't want them to. So, but it's possible.
That's a good point.
EA is surviving now on just sports games, and if you know anything about the recent sales of the recent football games, you're going to know that they may not have a bigger window ever again.
The fact
even
that
even with the dropping sales, this is the FIFA stuff. This is the NFL stuff. Those things are going to sell packs forever. People will buy that forever. It's always going to be a money sinker for them, even if it's not the king of the mountain it was a couple years ago, which was it's only down a couple mil.
I'm surprised when it comes to regulatory stuff that the government has not stepped into that at this point, because EA should not have a monopoly on all the sports titles and the franchises. It's just, it baffles my mind that they are allowed to do and get away with this, whereas no one else can. So
no,
there's no competition anymore. And that's why EA just keeps pumping out. I remember when they had, I can't remember I think it was the NFL games, that they literally left on last year's logo in the background on some of their stuff, like the year before. And I'm like, come on.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, remember that? And I'm like, that tells you how much effort they put into each year's titles. So
well, and again, they really didn't. It was a regurgitated game. I used to complain about it all the time and make fun of my friends who were continuing to support EA, including Madden. All right, jumping to super chats real quick because we need to start getting ready to wrap this up. Pinochet's Helicopter Tours for $2 says BlackRock can't force consumers won. That's probably one of the best statements out there in the universe. That's 100% true. Of course, there was a previous super chat from Pinochet's Helicopter Tours in the same vein saying T. Louis 2, I'm going to say it that way, $20, 3 months after release, gamers won. And that's true. I mean, look, both of these super chats are the same. Consumers win. You consume or don't consume.
BlackRock, though, they do have trillions of dollars, and they're always got their hands meddling in something. So,
but even with trillions of dollars, I think we're getting to a point where even BlackRock is going like, guys, we're losing a little too much here. It's a little red this month.
Yeah,
but that all depends on the actual people that are propping this up. So
that's true.
The big guys that are the multi-billionaires have to actually say, okay, enough. You've made your point, and it's not making me money. So.
And Paul Whitaker's right. Capcom's live streams tomorrow When was Ubisoft supposed to be, Spencer? Do you remember?
Saturday, I think.
At the Tokyo Game Show, they were supposed to be the
at
big
TGS.
one of the biggest headliners, and well, they're not doing it because they had to delay the game because the game sucks rocks and nobody's buying it, nobody's interested in it. Pre-sales are non-existent. There's going to be a problem going forward. Anyway, gentlemen, we are wrapping up the show today. We had an extraordinary participation from our lovely group of
course, it's nothing without them.
Yeah, I know,
Yes,
of subscribers out there. Thank you for being here. If you're not subscribed, please, by all means, hit the little red button, turn it to gray. Hit that thumbs up button if you haven't already. It really does help. And make some comments. If you're watching on the replay, write in the comments replay gang and hit the thumbs up button as well. Share the stream out there. It does help the channel immensely. And we've got more videos coming out here tomorrow and in future days. Very excited to have had you join us. I've got the great Spencer Baculi coming to us from Bounding into Comics, where he is also the editor-in-chief, driving the bus like nobody's business, and the incredible Space Dave coming to us from way up high, dangling off a umbilicus that to a private spaceship. He has never told us where he is specifically.
I can't tell you. Otherwise, I'd have to disable your Starlink connection. Sorry.
Yeah, let's not do that. On that note, thank you so very much. Do check out videos coming tomorrow, mainly in the same vein we talked about today. And check out the wonderful live streams that we do every Wednesday for now, maybe Tuesday in the future. And, well, we're coming up on the time when we intend to start live streaming competitive gaming between each other, and there will be no trophies awarded unless they're deserved. On that note, from all of us, we end the show the same way we always do, with get your game on.
Pizza time.
That's right. Get pizza.